What is up, my friends? You're very welcome along to tonight's video. And look, I'm not going to go through any waffle. I'm going to get straight into it. There will be talk about transfers to and from the club, but beforehand, I just want to get something off my chest. I don't know about you guys, but I'm preparing myself for another window of frustration and disappointment. Before we headed into this window, all year, we'd been told that Liverpool had cut their cloth accordingly. Liverpool had prepared for generational talents. Liverpool know the size of the job at hand and know the rebuild that's needed. Now we're starting to see things like, well, because there's no Champions League football, maybe Liverpool have to, or Liverpool fans have to taper down their expectations a little bit. Maybe we have to look in different markets. Maybe we have to be clever again. When do we stop hearing this? When do we actually get to act like a big club? The reason we're not going to be in the Champions League this season, yes, is partially because of the players' exhaustion and Jurgen Klopp's failings at times, but mainly it's because of a lack of investment. Make no mistake, FSG are at the heart of this problem, and as long as they're at the helm of the football club, I don't see it changing anytime soon. And I understand that there are people out there who want to tell me about the good stuff that they've done. I've given them the credit for that. Watch anything I've spoke about them. I always give FSG the credit. But I'm sick of being lied to. I'm sick of being treated like an idiot. I'm sick of being told things that suit their narrative and having it shoved down their neck by the media. When is anybody going to actually grow a pair, stand up, and call out this stuff? We need a huge window. I would dare to say it's probably the most important window since Jurgen Klopp has come to this football club. We've been told for years that there was money for generational talents. We've been told for years that we were flirting with Jude Bellingham. Then what happens when it comes time to actually put up? Liverpool throw their hands up in the air and run away like always. We don't go after the top players, even ones that we've been screaming at, even ones that we've been flirting with for years. Everybody and their dog knew that Jude Bellingham was Liverpool's number one target. And what have we done? We've simply walked away and let Real Madrid have their way. Now, people are going to comment on this and say, but Craig, he chose to go to Real Madrid. That's where he wanted to go. Again, that's one narrative, and that's a narrative that I'm sure people are led to believe. I don't believe it. I firmly believe that if Liverpool had followed through, Jude Bellingham would have run to Anfield to play for Jurgen Klopp. And nothing that FSG or some sections of the media put out there is going to change my mind. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of us being lied to. I'm sick of being next summer FC. And most importantly, I'm sick of people accepting the status quo. I'm sick of people like myself and many others who just dare to question things, who want to be a little bit better, who want to see Liverpool challenging consistently and acting like a big club. We aren't petulant, spoiled brats, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise. We have a right to expect Liverpool to act like one of the five richest clubs in the world, to act like one of the biggest football clubs, to act like a club that is the most successful in English football history. But we don't. And yes, it's great when you bring through an Andy Robertson for 8 million quid. And yes, it's great when you sign a Mohamed Salah that turns into a world beater. But there's also a time to act, like there was with Virgil van Dijk, like there was with Alisson Becker. Difference being there is they had the Coutinho money. Now we're going to be told yet again, no Champions League, taper your expectations. I'm sick of it. FSG, in my humble opinion, this summer need to really act like progressive owners, need to act like owners who want to win, or they need to sell up. And until our fan base comes together and stop thinking about past glories and stop giving them credit for bringing Jurgen Klopp and the Championship and the European Cup and the other things that we've won. That's brilliant. But let's stop sitting around applauding it and let's try to build back to get there consistently. Winning everything once isn't a dynasty. Winning everything once is great. But when you're on top, you need to capitalise from a position of strength. And these owners have never shown a willingness to do that. They've never shown a willingness to be there with Manchester City, to be there with other clubs around Europe who are constantly challenging and wanting to succeed. I don't believe that FSG have any thirst or any want to be continuously successful. I think as long as the value of the football club continues to rise, they're happy regardless, because that's all that they care about, the bottom line. I see no indication from these owners that they want to be successful long term. Never mind the sound bites, never mind the apologies, never mind the mouthpieces and the people who are too afraid to actually speak up. There are a few of us left that are going to say it as it is, at least how I believe it to be, and I've no faith in these owners. Now look, I'm going to move on to talk about actual stories, but I want to know your take on FSG. And no, undermining, no snottiness, no arrogant conversations about you're a spoiled, petulant fan. I'm not. I waited 30 years for a league title. I liked it. I would like some more of it. I don't know about you, but success is kind of intoxicating, right? Success makes you want more of it, and it makes you appreciate the difficult times as well. So I do think that Jurgen Klopp and the players certainly have enough goodwill in the bank to have written off a season, to have underperformed, to have been exhausted from what happened the season before and how close we came to immortality. But the owners don't. The owners, they need to start acting up. They need to start acting like they want to win things consistently, or maybe time to revisit selling the club. So look, let's talk about outgoings first. And I'm sure that you guys have seen right around the media today that there is been interest in Fabio Carvalho. There is a report to say that Liverpool have turned down a significant sum of money from a Champions League club who would like to sign him. I think it was a permanent deal. I don't think Liverpool are willing to do a loan deal. And I think Liverpool may even be tempted to sell him if there is a buyback clause in there. And we need to be ruthless. We do. Look, I like Fabio Carvalho, but I think if we need to rebuild, we need to leave no stone unturned and bring in every single pound that we can. So if we need to sell Fabio Carvalho, so be it. Put in a buyback clause by all means, but let the kid go and play football. And we don't need anybody just taking up a wage. We don't need anybody just sitting around. If you aren't good enough, if you aren't ready, you shouldn't be in the team right now. I like Carvalho. I hope he comes back. Same with Kelleher should he leave. But ultimately, Klopp has to do whatever he has to do to get the funds in the bank to make sure that he can go out there and be as active as he can in this window. So here's one that caught my attention today, and I don't know if there's any truth to this. I really don't. But the Daily Mail have said that Liverpool make Jules Kounde an offer. I hope this is true. I really do. He wouldn't be top of my list of priorities, but there is a player in there. And there's a player who, while he was at Sevilla, showed what he was about. Hasn't really had a look in at Barcelona. He's been playing out of position a lot of the time, and he seems to be unhappy. No mention of what the figure might be if Liverpool were indeed interested, but 46 million was what Barcelona paid to bring him to the new camp. And I think if Liverpool had to even go a little bit above that, it would be a very clever piece of business. I don't know if this is true. I don't know if it's Yuri and Timber. But I like these quality of players that we're being linked to defensively. And hopefully this is a sign of things to come. But I won't hold my breath. Continuing on with the window, Alexis McAllister looks like it is just going to be a matter of time. Brief readings of the market seems to suggest from journalists like Fabrizio and many others that you're probably talking 5 to 7 days maybe before this one's announced. His father, who also acts as his agent, is flying over to Liverpool to finish negotiations and just, I guess, do the final details. He will be wearing the number 10 shirt. Again, I think it's about 70 million euros, so just over about 60 million pounds from what I've been reading. And again, fantastic piece of business. But that's where the good news seems to stop for me. The other players that I'm starting to see us linked with start to look like bargain bin or bargain basement signings. Ryan Gravenberch is a roll of the dice. I'm not against him coming in as the third choice midfielder, but it's not filling me with confidence. To hear Jurgen Klopp say one week that he's never spoken to a player that wants Champions League football before anything else, or even mention it in conversation when looking to come to the football club. But then a few days later we hear that Mason Mount has decided that he wants to go to Manchester United, preferably because they have Champions League football. So again, what are we to believe? I'm not naive enough to believe everything that the manager or everything that FSG or everything that anybody says. I like to question things and I like to find my own conclusions. But I'm also happy because I don't want Mason Mount and I don't think he's good enough. Can we get Nicolo Barella? Most probably not, particularly with Inter having qualified for the Champions League again via the league, so they're not going to be reliant on saving football and beating Manchester City in the final of the Champions League. They do have a debt that needs to be repaid. I'm not sure the time frame on that, but I believe it's this summer, and I think it's something like 250 million that is due to be repaid. Now, other than that, there isn't really too much today. There are indications that maybe Adrian Samagel is about to sign that extension. Again, I don't understand the thinking here. He's terrible, but what's the answer we get back? Apparently he's great around the training ground and he's really popular. Well, that's great, but he's shit, and that's the most important thing. So look, that's it from me today. Again, I don't want to come across as a ranty loudmouth, but I'm genuinely concerned. I'm concerned that we're going to become also rans. I've no doubts whatsoever about our manager. I've no doubts about the core group of players. I've no doubts about the commitment of those that are working at the club. But I do have doubts about those who sign the checks and those who give Jurgen Klopp the money. And that isn't going to change because I've seen what's happened in past. I've seen what's happened in years gone by. Over to you. Let me know what you think. Agree or disagree. I appreciate your thoughts. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.